October wedding cake. Drama, never thought I'd post here, but my mom's gone too far. Am I the asshole? When my fiancé proposed last year, we immediately started planning. We're both pretty laid-back people, not the type to obsess over tiny details or demand perfection. The one thing we both felt strongly about was the dessert. Both of us aren't into traditional wedding cakes, those overly sweet, fondant-covered monstrosities that cost a fortune and most guests barely touch. We've been to enough weddings where beautiful cakes sit mostly uneaten at the end of the night, and we didn't want to waste money on something neither of us particularly enjoys. Instead, we wanted something different that actually reflected our tastes. After discussing several options, pies, donuts, etc., we settled on a dessert bar featuring cheesecakes, which we both genuinely enjoy and thought would be a crowd pleaser. We found a local bakery with amazing reviews and set up a tasting. The cheesecakes were incredible. Creamy, flavorful, not too sweet. We were sold immediately and got excited about having various flavors for guests to choose from. When I told my mom about our dessert plans, she initially seemed fine with it, but I could tell by her tone that she wasn't thrilled. A week later, she called me up specifically to talk about the cake situation. You know, weddings have certain traditions that are important, she began. Guests expect certain things. The cake cutting is one of those special moments everyone looks forward to seeing. I explained that we could still do a cake cutting with a cheesecake, but she wasn't having it. It's not the same, she insisted. You need at least a small traditional cake for the cutting ceremony, just for pictures. Trust me, you'll regret not having those photos later. After discussing it with my fiancé, we reluctantly agreed to compromise. Fine, we'd have a small ceremonial cake alongside our cheesecake. Station. Nothing elaborate, just something simple we could cut for photos to make my mom happy. We researched bakeries, got quotes, and were about to put down a deposit when my mother dropped her next bomb. We were sitting at my parents' dining table going over the bakery options when she said, you know, having a cake just for yourselves. And not serving it to the guests is actually really tacky, she declared, completely contradicting her earlier position. People will think you're being selfish. You'll need to order sheet cakes of the same flavor to serve everyone. At this point, my fiancé and I exchanged a look across the table that said everything. This was getting ridiculous. First, we absolutely needed a cake. Now, the compromise. We'd agreed to wasn't good enough either. It was becoming clear that what my mother really wanted was a traditional wedding cake. Period. Mom, this is getting out of hand, I said. First you insist we need a cake for photos. Now you're saying, that solution is tacky. We're not doing this dance. We're going back to our original plan. Cheesecake only. My fiancé backed me up. We've already compromised once. The cheesecakes are what we want. They'll be beautiful and delicious. My mother didn't speak to me for 3 days after that conversation. We canceled the cake order entirely and went back to our original plan. A beautiful tiered cheesecake for us to cut with mini cheesecakes for the guests. The bakery assured us they could make a stunning display that would look gorgeous in photos. Problem solved, or so we thought. For 6 fucking months, my mother brought up the cake situation at every opportunity. Family dinners, phone calls, even a random text on a Tuesday afternoon. Just saw the most beautiful wedding cake at the Jones wedding. Sending you pictures now. I'd respond with variations of, looks nice, but we're sticking with cheesecake before changing the subject. My sister noticed the tension and pulled me aside at a family barbecue. What's up with mom and this cake thing? She won't stop talking about